Welcome back to Limit Break, everyone. In today's episode, we're going to be covering Ifrit Hardmode. It requires 4 DPS, 2 healers, and 2 tanks. Your main tank is primarily going to focus on keeping aggro and just taking damage. Your off tank, however, is going to be interrupting something called eruption, and that is one of the key parts to this fight. There's 3 phases in Ifrit. And basically the first one is fairly simple. It just simply revolves around eruption. And eruption is going to put a AoE on the ground that gives you a couple seconds to move out of. And you can get out of them in time in the earlier stages. In the first 2 phases you can pretty much live through them. But in the final phase, there's way too many eruptions and it will just kill everybody. So interrupting eruption is very important. It's pretty standard. Your tank will stay in front, your DPS will stay behind. There's eruption there. It got interrupted. Now I would highly suggest, if you're a healer or DPS that are in the back, to move out of it just in case, because sometimes the tank doesn't always get the interrupt. So what does this mean? This means DPS cannot stun at all during the fight. What you just saw there was one of his charges. That is new to hard mode. In the first phase, he will only have one of himself, and he will charge a part of the map. If he's facing you, run away. Don't want to get hit by that. It hurts. There's eruption again. Now that one didn't get interrupted, and you can see what happened to that Black Mage back there. So he's doing another charge. He's facing me. I'm going to move out of the way. Now there is a time, or there can be a time, when eruption can be immune. If your party is doing too much DPS, if you're interrupting, take note of this, and hopefully your whole party knows this. If you're DPSing too quickly and say he does an eruption and you push to phase 2, the time between both eruptions will be too short, so he'll be immune to at least one stun, and that is why you still want to, in good practice, move out of the way when he does eruption, just in case. Incinerate is generally the highest damage dealing ability Ifrit has, other than some of the special things that he does. Now you see we've entered phase 2. He starts summoning plumes on the outside. Phase 2 also has eruption, so there it was interrupted. And then there's going to be more plumes in the middle of the area now. Phase 2 is always plume, eruption, plume, eruption. He's going to charge 2 of himself this time. It is a good thing to note for beginners that he always charges from left to right when you're facing him. Alright, we've got a plume. Here comes an eruption. Which wasn't interrupted. There's another plume. Followed by a charge. You just gotta dodge out of the way of that. And if you get hit, you can see what happens. Now this is the nail phase. The nail phase is a little bit different than the regular mode. There's 4 nails instead of 1. You should have your caster or black mage limit break in the middle of the nails and everyone to DPS the nails down quickly. If you fail to do so, he will instantly kill everyone. It's also good to note that he will do 2 eruptions in this. The first eruption being an explosion will shoot you back. He'll do an eruption after that, and then he'll do an eruption without warning. So now we're going to enter the third phase. The third phase consists of 2 plumes, an outside plume, an inside plume, and then an eruption. He doesn't do that right away. He'll do an eruption, which actually was missed. Here, he didn't get the eruption, the stun off. Okay, now there's 3 of him in phase 3 when he charges. Always from left to right when you're facing him. He'll come down and start the official rotation of phase 3, which is plume, outside plume. Then he'll do an inside plume. Followed by an eruption, which needs to be interrupted. This is the most important part. An eruption there, and it was interrupted. Now everyone needs to get under the boss. Everyone needs to get under the boss. And he's going to do a room-wide plume. Except for a few places right near him. And then spread out again. And he'll follow with 1 more eruption. And then he'll jump into a dodge phase. And that's pretty much it. Once you get into this last phase, it's just repetition. Outside plume, inside plume, eruption, interrupt. Everyone goes under boss. 1 more eruption. And dodge. I'm going to go ahead and let you watch the rest of this video. The rest of the fight gets a little messy. The off-tank dies and I have to do one of the interrupts. Which isn't too hard in the final phase. Doing the interrupts yourself isn't too bad if you're tanking. Because you have so much aggro by that point, it's not even going to matter. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Limit Break. If you'd like to see more in the future, please let me know. Send me a message or leave a comment below, and please like, comment, and subscribe for more Limit Break content. Until the next video, guys.